Okay, I think we're live. Welcome to Meeting of the Minds. I guess kind of a core dev meeting. It's a very loose term, core dev for Ubiq, because anyone can be dev in Ubiq, permissionless all the way. But I am joined. Hi, I'm Alex Stirk, and I'm joined by one of our chief developers here, Luke Williams.
All right.
And we are very fortunate to have some time to speak with the one and only Griff Green of Giveth.
How's it going, guys?
Yo, it's going very well. It's funny that you have the one flag behind your one shoulder there, because we are actually calling from Barcelona, and we get to see that flag everywhere.
Oh yeah, no one knows what it means here in Thailand. I'm in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
Yeah, I think we're like literally on opposite ends of the planet, so we'll see how the lag holds up for us and everything. But yeah, it's good to see you again, Griff. I know we'll probably get each other again before the year is out in person.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping for Burning Man. I know you're. I'm really trying to still get you back to the burn, man. You guys don't know
I'm trying
this.
to get this guy to the burn. Like,
yeah.
I think Luke deserves to burn more than anyone. So I'm down for build week. I'm making plans that way.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this. Sturkey is like an Eagle Scout. He's a superstar. So you want him on your build crew. Absolutely.
I'm very hands-on, but what I try and do too is organize a collection of minds and discussion as well. And that's why we have you on the channel today, I guess, is we really want to discuss more about our plans for governance and what you have seen in the Ethereum ecosystem, and maybe even discuss a little bit about interoperability, because right now, our main focus is distribution of the governance token, which we're looking at the carbon vote contract, which is a very simple way of kind of
registering an address to participate in the airdrop or multiple airdrops. You send a zero Ubiq transaction, just to signify you want to receive the governance tokens, and then receive them at the various airdrops that will take place.
Yeah, so the idea being it's like it is an airdrop, but it requires minimal participation. So it's not like every address is going to get spammed. Like you have to be able to generate a transaction. So we were just kind of almost having a laugh about it last night. If anyone sends a transaction from Bittrex, so they're technically signed up for the airdrop.
It's been taken care of, though. I blacklisted the exchanges in the test code today.
Oh, nice.
With that situation.
And yeah, it's like we thought about ideas too of like doing expiring and stuff, but keeping it simple of like this is just a basic token airdrop and has the potential to have more functionality built on it. But the idea being that once the snapshot has happened, people can go put their Ubiq back in cold storage and stuff, and then they have this other token they can vote with, where security might not be as much of a priority.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. You would want people to move their tokens from cold storage and not use their cold storage address to receive the governance tokens?
Yeah, I mean, like the idea is that like there's some activity being required. And the idea is that like Ubiq has a function, and it shouldn't be locked up in like an address trying to vote on governance. So we'll do these periodic airdrops, which will show activity over a long term, and then over time, then the security side of it too, of like the Ubiq has a market value, it has a lot of utility in the network, whereas the governance token, like we're not pursuing markets for it. We want it purely to be focused on voting and maybe some other functionality down the line. But yeah, it's the idea of it is to kind of help separate from Ubiq and also provide kind of a timestamp.
Yeah.
Being used as gas on the network, you're going to have it split among multiple addresses in a lot of cases, which makes it quite inconvenient to vote with. Whereas you can keep the token in one location to represent your voting rate. And obviously, you don't need to necessarily keep it in cold storage. There's no financial risk there. At least that's the
plan.
Yeah,
it'd be nice if they could leave their tokens where they are and signal from these addresses.
Well, as long as they can make a transaction, so if they could do an offline transaction using Pyrus, our version of MyEther wallet, or if they're on Ledger or Trezor, they can make a transaction from that, and the tokens will be sent to those addresses. So they don't necessarily have to move their tokens. It just depends on how they're currently storing them.
Yeah. Are you guys considering making your token non-transferable, the governance token?
No, I think keeping it basic.
Yeah, we're keeping it basic. We possibly want people to be able to transfer it for other sort of use cases, even things like tipping, and it's sort of somewhat representing reputation in the community. Things that we're sort of considering.
Have you guys seen the Mini-Me token?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah,
that's something we're quite interested in.
Hence our call with you.
Yeah. It's obviously very, very flexible, and then also obviously updatable, which is makes things much easier to update if you do need to update for some particular reason.
What's really interesting about the Mini-Me token, when combined with non-transferable, is that if there is something that you want people to transfer, you can kind of just create that token of which, because if you want to separate from value to the value out, the only way to do that is to make it non-transferable. Like, you can try to make it not valuable, but in the end, if someone wants to buy someone's votes, they'll create a market on your version of Ether Delta or whatever and say, hey, sell me your tokens. And if they can transfer it, then otherwise, the only other way to transfer a non-transferable token is to give someone your private key. But then they both have the private key. So it's still not really, it's not real,
Yeah.
So I definitely like that. And I would also look at, I don't know if you've been following the ERC 777 standard.
Yeah.
Because we're using that, we're calling it Yoga Coin or Yoga Token, I guess, because it's a flexible version of Mini-Me. I'm excited to get the Mini-Me guy doing yoga or something. I need that GIF, I'll find it somewhere. But because that will make things really cool if you guys can move to that standard, because being able to have that reaction to when the token is sent can provide a lot of value. I assume you have that in Ubiq, right? When you send Ubiq to something, it can trigger things in a contract, like in the ICO contract. You can send Ubiq to a thing and it will generate a token, right?
Yeah, like our EVM is majority of it is standardized. We have most of the core functions. We're only missing the 2 most recent opcodes, but we're able to do the majority of EVM stuff.
So, but in tokens, in the standard ERC20, you guys use ERC20 basically?
Yeah, essentially ERC20.
Yeah, so when you send someone an ERC20 token, you send it somewhere, you don't know what happened. You don't know you received a token. And there's this workaround in 777 that lets you have it's ERC 777 and ERC 820. 820 is a interface standard, so that you can say what happens, so that this 777 token can actually call that interface, some kind of contract that says, hey, if you hit this address, then then refer to this contract and perform the actions in this contract. So that way you can actually have, if I receive a token, maybe I don't want it. Maybe I'm a Ubiq whale and I just don't even want to be bothered with governance. You could get the first airdrop and then you could say, I don't want any more, and you could actually turn it off. And other people get airdrops and you don't have to worry about it. You can still do everything. Or maybe you want it to send half of an ICO to your friend or something like that. You can create these custom contracts so that when you receive a token, something can be triggered.
So. The 777 has been one that has been suggested to me by a lot of the Vancouver crowd, that it's kind of an up-and-coming standard that is addressing a lot of the issues. And I think Diraxian, the guy from Ethereum Classic, he was also saying that he had some improvements on the ERC20. And yeah, that's the main discussion I wanted to have today, of like, we have the distribution kind of figured out, but like our main questions are like what token or what type of token is being distributed, and if we deviate too much from the ERC20, is that going to affect if we want to build any other applications? Because we would kind of like the governance token to be useful for things like running a district 0x functionality on it. Raiden was the big one that we were kind of like, yeah, like if Raiden's going to be pushing out a code base that requires a token to run, we'll just build it onto the governance token. So it will have a lot of utility, and maybe some value will come out of that. But like we're not actively supporting a market for it. It's purely this is built for utility and governance being the first use case. So building with a 777 token, is there any issue with these other applications that are being built on ERC20s?
No, that's the nice thing about 777 is that it's backwards compatible with ERC20. That was the problem with ERC223. I'm just throwing out all these numbers at people like it matters. Okay, I'm so sorry. It's just a shorter way to refer to this crap. Yeah. It was Dexeron standard. He was doing a great job, or like there was a lot of value in the information he was putting out there and the ideas that were being discussed in that standard, but he was unwilling to make it fully backwards compatible. And that's where ERC 777 really excels, is that it can act just as an ERC20 token. So if someone builds something for an ERC20 token, hey, boom, 777 works. And this is the same with Mini-Me. Mini-Me is a ERC20, ERC20 token, and Yoga will be ERC 777, but it doesn't matter. They'll both be able to play with Raiden and all that stuff.
Cool. Well, I guess the other question would be, we have some echo. Oh, okay. The other question would be, like, we talked about the expiry of tokens too, because like the idea of governance should be relevant within a certain period. So if we do like distributions every quarter, and then after a year age, the token is no longer transferable or it's burnt. Is that something that the 777 can kind of have programmed into it, or are we kind of adding unneeded complexity, or are we barking up the wrong tree?
Well, I would say if you're considering Mini-Me, I would say that you're kind of barking up the wrong tree in a way. There's a lot of cool things you can do. Like, you don't need to burn the tokens. You could just make them not valid and just create another clone token for addresses that have done this action, right? And you create a clone token, but it only goes to the addresses that have actually performed the action in the last little bit, which is why
expiry was just like a concept that we really thought would be kind of useful, but like we hadn't seen a good example of it.
It does restrict the other utility aspects of the token.
I mean, that's why cloning the token is so. That's why cloning the token is so cool, because it just gives you so much more freedom. It's like just this. If you can, I've never seen anyone actually do this, but I'm pretty sure it's possible that you can just say, "Hey, I'm going to clone this token, but I'm only going to give it to the addresses here," right? Because you have a list of everyone who has it, but you can still generate tokens selectively. So I haven't seen anyone take that application and run with it, but I'm pretty sure it's possible.
Okay. Well, yeah, with Ubiq, we're all about using more like coins with a precedent or standards that have had like provability behind it. As much as we want to innovate, we are very sketched out by like going too far into like new territory. I mean,
for good reason, dude. Like the mini-me was audited by 7 different people, and there were still bugs found in little like unique, edge cases after those 7 audits. And we're not talking like little guys, Piper Merriam, Aragon, Status, all these guys paid a lot of money for keeping it PG, a lot of money for real-time audits, and they just don't do anything, man. It doesn't. No audit matters, in my opinion. Like, it helps. It's not worthless, but it's not nearly as valuable as multiple use cases and time under attack on like an incentivized network. So.
Oh yeah, the economic incentive just immediately brings out the most like knowledgeable people in terms of like, can I break this and make a profit?
Oh yeah, and the mini-me token is also something that you should check out. Is its centralization? There are problems. Of course, we all hate centralization. That's why we're in this space. But at the same time, it's kind of nice that you can start out with some centralized security features that will allow you to zero it out as you start to build trust in your code base. So, as this token controller, and maybe you can like do a quick audit to make sure everything's right before you change it to fully decentralized,
Well, this is one thing that we've been writing down notes on the disclaimer for the governance, because this is very much a project that is heavily controlled by the Ubiq Corporation, that like, hey, we are issuing these tokens to help you vote on money that we currently control. Like, we still have kind of the final execution, and it is centralized, but in that way, like, we're still trying to act within the best interest of the network. We obviously want to move towards a more decentralized future, but it's like we also want things to work properly. So yeah, it's something we're making sure is very apparent. Any thoughts? Because yeah, code as law is a great mentality, but like in function, it needs to. There's a long route to getting to like code as law.
Yeah. Have you guys looked at Lumio at all?
No.
Oh, dude, really cool open source governance platform that has incredible functionality. And like at Giveth, we've only been using it for a few weeks, but oh my god, blown away. They've been working on it's actually a product of the Occupy movement, and they have been working on this for about 7 years, and it's a really powerful tool. It's not blockchained yet, but we're gonna. I actually just got on a call with the main guy this morning, who's running it, and we're just gonna throw him some ether, and like, everything's so open source and well documented that I'm just really excited to start working with it. And
Lumino, you said?
Lumio, Loomio. I don't know what the dot is, but I'm sure it'll Google up.
LOO.org. I'm already blanking on the spelling. Sorry, can you say it again one more time, nice and slowly?
Loomio. Loomio.org. And they also have Lumio.coop, which kind of explains their company and all these things. Very interesting project. They are trying to do it in a decentralized way. They're a workers owned co-op, but what's really cool is they produced a real product that is extremely useful, has a really great user experience, is just fun to touch. There's something about an app that's actually fun to touch. But it's more for decentralized governance. I think Giveth is run using holacracy. We have a flat hierarchy. There's no bosses, and that's really cool, and it's fun, and it works pretty well. We have about 20 people, but I don't think we could scale efficiently without a tool like Lumio. And one of the things that I worry about with tokenized governance is that we don't have these kinds of tools integrated into the token. you know, you can say, hey, let's do a carbon vote, and then you have a vote, and hopefully that works out. But you know, it's how do you get the how do you get the people educated? You know, you want to have a democratic environment. Well, you need an educated people. You need people that understand the topics, so that it's more useful for them to vote. And these kinds of tools are what I think you kind of need to integrate with, so that the token holders can be, you know, more interactive than just like clicking one button if they want to be.
It actually, looking at it, I'd actually have had some experience with it a few years back with the Internet Party in New Zealand. They were using Lumio for internal decision making and policies. And,
it's a New Zealand.
It's a great tool.
They're from Wellington.
Ah, yes. That would make a lot of sense.
Well, we're very fortunate too in the Ubiq community. We have a very active community. Like the people aren't just, you know, holding. Like we're expecting a really good participation in the initial governance airdrop and the follow-up proposals. So we're confident that way that we have a high quality user base. But yeah, I think our main plan right now is the distribution using the carbon vote contract as a form of sign up. And then the actual governance side of it would be using District 0x. So that proposal system, and then also integrating with GitHub, I think is where we're seeing the most promise, unless you maybe have a better suggestion, Griff.
Integrating with GitHub? What do you mean?
Well, like, so they have their GitHub issues, I guess.
Yeah. So for proposals, how it currently works is pretty much there's a specific GitHub repository where you just submit an issue, and that takes just proposals. Just
like how District OX does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, hey, District OX, it's a working model. Why, you know, like you guys are saying, why break the boat? We're on District OX. We have a proposal. I think we're like number 3.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
Yeah. I actually still need to call those guys and figure out how do we get to number 1. I mean, I know what we got to do to get to number 1, but then what? I'm not even sure the next moves. So, but yeah, I think that's a really good plan. Honestly, take some proven code, modify it a little bit for your use case, and go with it. Yeah.
We're not looking to, I guess, reinvent the wheel. We want to see people have really nice wheels and maybe put a different hubcap on it. Like,
yeah, I mean, there were some cool. I liked the, you know, I mean, you were there for the DAO stuff, right? So they had the considerate, and they had like different tools to talk about proposals where anyone could issue a proposal. That like with District OX, it seems a little bit limited in that it's like, here's this project that what projects do you want to propose? Here they are, you know, and so you see the top ones and maybe the bottom ones don't get some play, or it would be nice to have at least a second layer of options where a lot of stuff happens. I mean, you guys have your Discord, so you can kind of integrate in there some kind of like proposal feedback, like bounce ideas off, just more of a free flow, less structured environment.
Well, we have a short list of like official proposals that we really want to get the community's vote on, with how we're going to spend some of the development funds. But like we do want to open the door to have anyone create a proposal. But like there obviously needs to be a level of entry there to kind of prevent spam or, you know, malicious behavior. Yeah, so the Ubiq domain, the Ubiq Smart domain, when it displays proposals, like there will be, I think, more oversight there, but I think we're going to try and provide tools that anyone can host it, because this is something we're trying to cultivate more of, like, you know, community-run block explorers and other services plugging into the chain. And, you know, if they want to run an uncensored proposal site, then it will show everything, and we'll have more of the official stuff on our page.
Yeah, well, definitely connect with me when you guys are looking for open source block explorer. because I'm trying to talk to everybody, so I should have some groundwork there. So I really want it too, man. I don't know why this doesn't exist.
Well, we actually have a couple going on with Ubiq. Like there's obviously the Ubiq scan, which is open source currently and still somewhat limited in functionality. One of the community members recently launched a Ubiq Explorer, which is open source. It's still new and quite limited, but there is some potential there. It runs very nice. It just needs some more contract features.
Shout out to Eric. He's
Eric.
watching now, and he's doing great work.
Thanks, Eric. Definitely appreciate it, man.
And then we have Max Pool or Max Hash.
Max Hash is they're also planning on adding some interesting stuff with internal transactions and that sort of functionality.
I mean, that's everything.
Much needed.
Yeah.
And that was from your feedback, Griff, of as a Ethereum developer or EVM developer, that information is needed on an API.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I'm a dev. I pretend, but I'm not. I can read some code, but I've never written a test in my life, so I'm clearly not a developer. But I do all the the talking for the devs, you know. So like when they say I need this, I go and play fetch.
You're the translator.
Yeah, exactly. I need people to understand what I'm doing. Oh, okay. I can work on that. So
well, we're working really hard to make sure that what Ethereum devs are looking for in alternative EVMs is what we can deliver, because like we want to be a viable option for their community, and we're getting really close. I think we'll close that gap a little bit more in the coming months here.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any ideas about bridging, like bridging the chains?
I saw your the first part of that with the two guys from Parity, and very interested because obviously they've bridged mainnet with Coven currently, I believe, and I'm definitely interested in bridging Ethereum mainnet with Ubiq mainnet using their bridge contracts and bridge node.
Yeah, why not?
There is, I guess, one slight factor at the moment is that we don't have a Parity client. We're using Ubiq, which is entirely based on giveth. But outside of that, definitely interested.
And I don't think that you have to have a strict implementation of what they're using. Like what they have isn't really audited or what.
Just the concept itself, because obviously the bridge contracts on each side. That's just EVM, so that's fine. It's just a matter of the node in between, the bridge node. So we might have to write some slightly custom code to handle that, but definitely.
And there's other people working on this as well. I'm talking to Alex from Grid Plus in about 36 hours, doing another interview with him. And I just got done with an interview with TrueBit. TrueBit's solution is a little bit more complicated and probably not able to work in the next 3 months for relaying at least. But they have a really cool thing where they're verifying data off chain with a kind of a infrastructure of validators and kind of game theoretical model that they're putting out. So that you can, verify any data and do any calculations off chain. So bridging chains through that would work. But I think Alex's model also, the client that they're building, I'll find out in 36 hours. But I'm hoping it'll be more for geth, because we need all these answers. So. What we're doing right now, we're actually bridging to testnet. Our DApp is on testnet. We just have a ghetto solution, dude. Getting information off of these chains, scraping information off the chains, is not that. It's not that crazy. Block explorers do it, right? So for our case, we're just going to be a trusted centralized party. We're going to create a token on testnet, and then we're using Mini-Me and just the token controller can just generate tokens when it hears a event on mainnet. of a donation. It'll generate a token in the right place based on the where the address was located. And then that token can move around on testnet all for free, which is great because we're just trying to help charities out, right? And so we're not really trying to make money. So paying for gas kind of kills us. And then, then we can do our fun governance stuff. And then when money actually needs to leave the system, for us, we can listen to the payouts on that chain and then generate a block of data. And we have this really cool multi-send contract where we can use our multi-sig to do like we have a 6 of something multi-sig, and we do 6 transactions to confirm the transaction, and then 20 something transactions will all be sent at once based off of what happened. And it's just a scrape. We run it on a server, nothing crazy, and then waiting for these other guys to give us something that will work. Because Kovan right now has this other issue that there's no mobile action. There's no one doing a mobile solution for Parity's testnet. Whereas Rinkeby has status and other people working on showing, so I can go to somebody on the phone and be like, hey, look at how Giveth works, you know?
Yeah.
So we can't, I don't really want to use Parity either. I mean, I do, but if they get the mobile solution.
Well, that's on our hit list too, of having a mobile app for Ubiq. I mean, we're primarily focused on the dev community, so mobile payments is not a high priority, but like it's something that I've heard from some users that they want to be able to have Ubiq on mobile. I
mean, Papyrus will work on mobile, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I mean,
assuming that they've got Chrome running. Well, without Chrome, then some features don't quite work like properly. But
and I guess Aldo discovered the other day that our fork of MetaMask will run on the Mozilla app.
Yeah, that also works here in Firefox just fine.
So you guys forked MetaMask successfully.
Yeah, so Sparrow is released on the Google Chrome store right now. If you search for Sparrow, you'll see it's released by Ubiq, and it is the Ubiq-focused MetaMask.
Well done, guys. Well done. Consensus is another one that's kind of like Etherscan, where they are not willing to work with separate chains directly. I mean, because like were you guys able to talk to the MetaMask devs, or I mean, they're pretty friendly. I love the MetaMask guys, but
no, we haven't. Well, I haven't personally touched base with them. Aldo may have.
I talked with Frankie at Burning Man a little bit, so I mentioned it too. And her main concern was just like make sure like you just like brand it separately, like you're not using our support channels because they got enough support to deal with.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Dude, support is the biggest issue right now in crypto. 100%.
But we've had pretty open comms with Taylor from MyEther Wallet, and she seems pretty keen on it.
Yeah, Pyrus has gone well, and yeah, the MyEther Wallet team are just great. They're an awesome asset to the community.
Absolutely. Heroes, dude. And all the stuff that they do is like, you know, everyone gets to see the obvious stuff. You know, maintaining MyEther Wallet is no small feat.
That people don't see that they're working on and dealing with, and yeah, a huge amount of respect to all of them.
Support in the space where they actually just like they're supporting everybody's issues on everything, right? Like it's not just MyEther Wallet direct issues. It's like, oh, this ICO is a scam or whatever. They have a whole security like team that doesn't work on MyEther Wallet at all. They're literally just hunting fishers and like protecting people in this space and in and out of Ethereum. Like, you know, they are happy to help anybody on anything, whether it's Bitcoin, Ubiq, doesn't matter. They're really heroes.
Yeah, and you'll see at the bottom of Pyrus, there's the MyEther Wallet donation address. If you guys from Ubiq are, you know, like Pyrus, please donate to the Mew team because we really owe a lot of the heavy lifting to them.
Yeah, the Ledger links are also using their referral links just as a.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's so sweet of you guys. And they'll hodl. They'll hodl the Ubiq. So.
Yeah, and like the same thing for MetaMask too. Like we have a lot of respect for the work that they're doing, and you know, the fact that they open source things for us to be able to play with and tinker and point at other chains. Yeah, we are beyond grateful that way. Like we try and really support the FOSS movement.
Yeah. I'm pretty stoked to hear that you guys forked MetaMask, because I just did an interview with POA Network, and they're like, one of the biggest things is that Consensus refuses to support bridge chains or anything that's not an official testnet or the Ethereum mainnet. And hey, well, you guys were able to fork it. They should be able to fork it, you know?
Well, going back to the topic of bridges and stuff, it seems like everything is kind of relies on a little bit of centralized trust, at least until some of the interoperability platforms come out, where it's more of a distributed Oracle service like Cosmos, Polkadot, Aeon.
Yeah, I think TrueBit's the fastest towards a decentralized relay.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, they just tested a Dogecoin bridge. So they have one, yeah, go Doge, right, to the moon. Good old, where's Gary when we need him? We should call him in, get him in. But they have the one-way peg set. It's just so that they could actually create Doge as an ERC20 token with in a decentralized verifiable way, where it's not so it's like you have the Doge chain, you have the TrueBit protocol, and then you have the Ethereum network. And when you deposit Doge, you create ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum network. And as long as there is one node that is honest, then you can trust the whole system, which is pretty magical, right? And if you want to know more of the technicalities, you can watch the interview I did like an hour ago.
It seems the one-way peg is fairly easy to do, because you're able to like send to a burn address, I guess. But it's the two-way peg where you're actually able to release Doge based on what happens on Ethereum is where there's a lot more difficulty.
It's because of the Doge side. There isn't a smart contract way to create a decentralized solution. You have UTXOs, and the only smart contract you can really make that makes any sense is a multi-sig. So then you have to have these multi-sig guys that you can trust that will auto-sign when you want to burn your ERC20 Doge and get real Doge back. But the question is, in practice, would you ever want to do that? I mean, I guess you have to know that you can. But in practice, I mean, I think that you would have more fun with Doge on the Ethereum chain because you just play around more, you know?
We were just discussing it though, that like the Doge network is like unparamounted for the security for the fees that you pay. So it would be really hard to have to start paying Ethereum based fees when you're used to the Doge network fees.
That is a great point. I mean, the fact that they're merge mined with Litecoin and their fees are effectively free. I mean, come on. Like, if you're moving any real value, it is a great system. But that would be
so much utility for arbitrage, because every exchange has a pair, and it's usually one Satoshi difference. So like the liquidity and spread is like unparamounted. Like I use it a lot during altcoin season.
Nice. How do you use it, if you don't mind me asking?
Mainly for transferring wealth between exchanges. So like recently there was an issue, like Bitcoin was crippled, Ethereum wasn't much better. And one exchange wasn't even allowing you to create a Bitcoin address to deposit. And I'm like, well, I really need to get some like Bitcoin there. I'm like, oh, they have a Doge pair. Oh, look, they got like 2 Bitcoins on the next Satoshi in the order book. I'll just send Doge there. So like immediately in, immediately out, like maybe a 2% spread. And I'm like, Doge has a lot of utility that way.
That
more
is
so
a
than even
great
Bcash.
point. Yeah, and it's so cheap to transfer, right? So that's a really great point. I mean, maybe you could even build some kind of, if you can get that two-way peg going, you can do a lot of cool microtransactions on the Doge network. And maybe you could even deposit and make a decentralized exchange in a way, right? If you get this two-way peg on Ethereum or on Ubiq, you could deposit Ubiq and then start doing microtransactions with Doge. And and then get your Ubiq back out if you when you want to go play around with something else?
Well, I mean, if there's already like an Ethereum bridge, if there's going to be eDoge, maybe there should be UDoge as well. I think that would be it would be more relevant fees, and they would get all the same functionality. Plus, I know a lot of the big proponents of Doge, so I think they would love the opportunity to build on music.
Oh yeah, well, this is the magic of Truebit, is that they're totally agnostic to the blockchain. I mean, as they're proven with Doge and Ethereum, right? So if they can build a solution for Ethereum, it's Control C, Control V deploy for Ubiq.
So
maybe one little.
Have you been coming across Ubiq more in the wild in the Ethereum community? I'd be curious to know if our peer-to-peer advertising is working.
Sadly, dude, I'm barely in the Ethereum community anymore. My head's down in Giveth. So I feel like I stopped reading Reddit. I'm basically gone on there. The only thing I go to Reddit for is help DAO token holders that message me there still. But yeah, it's all Giveth all the time. I hear about Ubiq all the time because I follow you on Twitter, and I see. So, but I lost that. I used to have such a strong pulse of the Ethereum community and understand what's going on, but now I'm working in the Giveth galaxy, and it's like trying to build this thing over here. So I'm just like, I'm out of it, man.
There's a lot of noise, especially I think in the Ethereum community, just because there's so many projects with bold claims and lots of big fundraising going on. I mean, I don't, I'm not angry at anyone for not being able to keep up on what's going on in the crypto space. It's difficult for me even too.
Yeah, it's impossible. I have no idea what's going on with Ethereum anymore. No clue.
That's a good sign though, because it means the ecosystem is being more, even more diverse. That it's beyond just the original team or the OGs. I guess like there are segments that we don't even follow anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to governance. I have like another 10 minutes or something that we can chat. I keep interrupting Luke over here. I'm very curious about where your dev solutions are taking you. So you got this basically District OX plan. Are you going to modify it in any way?
Yes, we'll be. I mean, the basic concept's going to be pretty much the same. It will be customized to some degree, of course. Probably more so moving forward as we add different utility features. Because as far as proposals go, there's so we've gone with this a second layer governance model, essentially because we've got the developer funds that they're in the form of different currencies. There's Bitcoin, there's Ubiq, there's other currencies that people have donated and have accumulated via different means. And so we want people to be able to vote on how those funds are spent, whether marketing or bounties for different development milestones. Attract more developers to the space. So that's the main reason we do a second level as opposed to a sort of first level where which is a bit restrictive in just the sense of forks and things like that. And then obviously voting on technical things with different potential upgrades and forks and things like that as well. They just won't be enforced on a protocol level. We still have to get people to agree on updating and the normal forking scenario.
Just a representative poll of the supply of Ubiq, because there are things that we in the core dev team kind of talk about, like increasing the gas limit and stuff. But it would be really good to make a more publicized vote to try and rally miners and pools on it as well.
Yeah. Are you guys mined by the same Ethereum miners, or is it GPU miners?
ET hash is our algorithm. We do have a different difficulty algorithm, Flux, which we designed and implemented. And we have longer block times and a few other tweaks to the proof of work model, but And it does allow for like we can still 2 gigabyte GPUs can still mine Ubiq, and we'll be able to for the next 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
With slower DAG growth, so less memory requirements. So
well played.
We made quite a few changes around proof of work, but it is if you can mine Ethereum, you can mine Ubiq too, the same hardware.
And some people can mine Ubiq, but they can't mine Ethereum anymore.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I've been coming across a lot more miners in the space, and they're liking mining, the ability to, like, they're glad Ubiq exists at least as a mining option too, because older hardware, we're big proponents of it. I guess we allow for it to last a lot longer.
I think it helps with the decentralization of mining and keeping the entry level entry barrier low. We don't want to have an 8 gigabyte card to mine. That's not in reach of everyone. Whereas a lot of people have an old 2 gigabyte card lying around not doing anything, or using it for gaming. It just opens up mining to more people.
Yeah. I mean, there's something magical about being able to point your hardware at something and just make money. Like this is just like it's amazing. If you're a hardware guy, it's just like, what? It's fun, you know.
Well, with our the way we want to do our airdrops for governance, the governance token, we sort of want to reward long-term holders of the currency, but also active people in the community. Which is why we've gone with the sort of carbon vote claim process, where you register your address for the airdrop, and we don't just want to be giving governance tokens to every address. It spams the chain a little bit for starters, but also if you brought some Ubiq a year ago and you haven't been paying attention, then we probably don't want you having too much say in how things go moving forward. We want people that are actually involved and more passionate about the project, I guess. And obviously want people that are financially invested, because they're more likely to make good decisions that are in the best interest of the network. Yeah.
Well, and you guys have, whether or not it's well documented and understood, there is a governance process around. Like you said, you have the core devs, they meet, they talk, make issues on GitHub, these kinds of things. And that is a governance process. But it can be better if you have some input from the other participants.
Yeah, and I love get a lot of input from the community, and we do sort of take that quite seriously with a lot of good discussions in Discord. But it's just nicer to have that sort of a lot more clear. We've got numbers to work with, we've got clear votes.
Yeah,
and
I would definitely look at Lumio. And also, have you, just as like general governance research, have you ever heard Vlad Zamfir's talks on governance?
A few.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've watched some Vlad stuff, but
I mean, he talks a lot about sharding and Casper, and that's all so high level you just don't even care, right? Like, I mean, at least I don't. Like, it's too much, right?
Sharding, but
yeah,
I heard his recent talk though, just about the all dev call and stuff like that, like just how the governance exists outside of the chain and you know, the current hierarchy.
Yeah, and he has like he breaks it down into shareholders, participants, and different people and different roles and how it all comes in. If you've seen that talk, then you're good, because that was my goal out of this point. But it's there's a lot going on, and just to be able to get a few more points involved in there will be incredibly valuable. Hopefully it doesn't have to be so expensive, which is why the token part is, I don't know. It might be something that you do after pushing some more buttons on, doing it without a token first. Like for Giveth, we've been using Excel spreadsheets and stuff forever, because making a token versus making an Excel spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet is centralized, but works a lot better than a token in some ways, because it's free and it's even more transparent, because like,
one of the reasons you want to go with the token is just to sort of represent voting weight a bit better. it doesn't make a lot of sense to me for someone that say has 10,000 Ubiq to have the same voting power as someone that has 10 Ubiq. One person is more invested in the system. And we can easily do that with a token where we can represent together this person's vote is worth with that person's vote. And it also gets rid of a lot of spam and malicious behavior with the voting, where people are just trolling and trying to vote through nonsense.
Yeah, for sure.
Important step to, I think, maybe what we're looking at in the distant future of like a hybrid model where, like, miners have a say, but also token holders have a say, like active token holders, because we really like the Decred system in terms of like the hybrid of both token holders and miners have a lot of decision-making power in the network, but they're in balance and in check. So we're this is our progressionary into getting into that. But like right now, the traditional social structure that we have in the Discord is working very well. We're very fortunate that the community is very receptive of us. So shout out to the Ubiq Discord. You guys are great. Like we get a lot of really good feedback that way, and we're looking for a more measured approach for how can we grow the system scalably, and maybe do more stuff on chain.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if you want to get the token holders' input, like you said, that's kind of a plutocracy type situation where that's where it matters. And so I think you made a great point. I think a token does make sense. And this is what is so exciting. Like, I see you guys looking at Decred and, what are these guys doing? What are those guys doing? There is so much experimentation going on in governance in this space. It is so, Zencash is doing some really cool things. Like, we can't even, see all the experimentations going on because there's so much. I mean, a new currency is created like 10 times a day. And that's a whole new economy with a whole, most of the time it's the same silly social structure with a multi-sig or whatever. But some people are trying to do something different. And it's just really exciting to watch. And I thank you guys so much for getting me in on this, because we're going to definitely follow closely and see how it evolves.
Well, we appreciate your time, Griff, and everyone watching at home. I think this is a great spot to end with. Of like, we're open to seeing the experimentation of the space, and then also having our own little input on it too. And we'll look forward to having some more, I guess, info coming out in the coming days here. We're coming to on what exactly we feel we should be doing. So thanks again, Griff.
If you guys need any help with Mini-Me, ping me on Giveth to join the Giveth Riot. You can go to giveth.io/join. You can join. You can hit the Slack or the Riot. We try to do most stuff on Riot, but it's bridged. We love bridges. But definitely ping me, and especially if you're in Barcelona, maybe I can get a quick call in with Jordy to talk more about the concrete dev details.
Awesome.
Cool beans. And everyone else, check out ubiqsmart.com for all the relevant info, and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and the Twitter, all that fun stuff. And we'll be exiting now. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you, Luke.
Thanks, Griff.